Hey, sixth grade. Today we are looking at I-10, or converting fractions to decimals, shortcut 6 to Y. So converting fractions to decimals is a pretty straightforward process because every fraction already is in order of operation. So a fraction is actually a division problem. So if I come over here and I look at this problem, I would read it just like I would a piece of paper. I'm going to read it from top to bottom. So this problem is actually telling me that this is the math problem of 3 divided by 10. So all I need to do is actually just go ahead and do my normal division. I put my 3 in the inside and my 10 in the outside. So I know that I can't actually take 10 away from 3. So I need to put my point and then add a 0 behind it, right? So now I'm looking at kind of the number 30. So I'm going to bring that decimal up and think, okay, how many times can I take 10 out of 30? Well, I can take 10 out of 30 3 times because 3 times 10 is 30. Right? And if I subtract that, I'm left over with 0 remainder. So 0.3 is just 3 divided by 10. It is just 0.3. So that's actually going to be my answer, is that 0.3. So we're going to go over here and we can just type in, I think we can just type in 0.3 and it should also give us the correct answer. Yep, so 0.3 or 0.3 would have both given us the correct answer. So this problem is very similar. I would just take my 7, I divide it by 10, and I could put this one in as 0.7 and it would also still read this as correct. All right, we're going to jump up a few levels to get to a little bit harder problems. Let's do 3/4. So if I already know 3/4 is an easy one for me, then I can go ahead and just do that one. I'm going to create this real quick over here so that I can write this out. Okay, so just like I did before, I have my 3/4 and it's still a division problem. So the top number is going to always be divided by the bottom number, just again reading from top to bottom. So if I put this in my division, I have 3 trying to take away 4. I can't do that, so similar to what I did before, I'm going to put 0.0 behind there and say to myself, okay, now 30 is not evenly divisible by 4. The closest that I can get is 7, because 7 times 4 is 28. I won't want to put 8 up there because that's going to go over. So I subtract those and I get 2 left over. 30 minus 28 is 2, right? Make this a little bit more obvious. There's a decimal here, there's a decimal here. So I can add another 0 on the back end and bring that down, making this now 20. So now 20 is evenly divisible by 4. And I say 4 times what gives me 20? Well, 4 times 5 gives me 20. Put the 20 down here, 4 times 5, subtract that, and I now have 0. So 0.75 is what 3 divisible by 4 is 0.75. And that should be my final answer, and that is a decimal place right there. So let's try 0.75 and see if that is our correct answer. It's 5, not 4. All right, good. Let's jump up just a few more times. Sure, we can do that one. All right, I'm gonna grab this one again. So this one might seem really intimidating at first, but it's the exact same process that I've been doing. It's still a division problem with my top number going inside the division house. 9, 0, 7. Sorry, not drawing the numbers the best right now, but you got the idea. Okay, and the 1,000 is going to go outside of here. So I'm going to take this number and divide it by 1,000. The other thing to know about when you're dividing it by either 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000, anything with 1 and zeros behind it, is you really can just move the decimal place. So I could do all my work, but I also can figure out that if I add a decimal point here add a 0 there. And if I go through all my steps, I'm actually going to get 907. You might notice this looks very similar to this number up here. Essentially what I did was I scooted the decimal point over on the bottom to make this 1. It went over 1, 2, 3 times. So to make it over 1, I just had to move this decimal point over 3 times as well. I'm going to show that in a different color and see what I'm talking about. So go over 1, 2, 3 times, and now the decimal point is in front of the 9. So 0.907, and I could work that all out, or I could just check it in a calculator and see that that is 907 divided by 1,000 is just 0.907. So that's kind of a shortcut if it's over anything with 1 and zeros behind it, is I can just scooch over those decimal and make it like 1. All right, let's do this one. And then I think we'll... All right. So similar to my steps that I was doing before, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to take 33, put it inside, and put 200 outside. So if this is too big of a number for me, again, I could scooch over my decimal point in both numbers, make this now 2. The decimal point's originally here behind the 33, and I'm scooching it over 2 times to make it in front of the 0.33. So now it's like I'm dividing the number 33 by 2. I'm sorry, the number 0.33 by 2 instead of 33 by 200. This is the same problem. It's going to give me the exact same answer. So if I go back to this problem, this is much easier to do than trying to figure it out with 200s. So if I have 0.33 and dividing by 2, I know that I can take this away 1 time, bring that 0 up. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 left over. Bring that 3 down. So I'm left 13. Now I do 13 divided by 2. That is going to be 6, because that's 12. Just realized you guys might not be able to see it. Oops. Okay, now I have 12. Oops, subtract that. 1, if I add, now I'm going to add a 0 up here to bring it down. And 10 is divisible by 5 times. And 5 times 2 is just 10. I don't want to do that. And then 10 minus 10 is going to give me 0, so that's 0 left over. All right, so my final answer in this problem is 0.165. Okay, so that one took a little bit longer, but it was a similar idea, the exact same idea to what I was doing before. I'm just taking this fraction and creating it into a division problem. So 0.165, and that should be my answer. Okay, so essentially you're just, again, as a quick refresher, you're just taking the top number, you're dividing it by the bottom number, and whatever fraction, or sorry, decimal you get is the fraction in decimal form. Good luck.